Let's talk music! Greetings, my name is Nina, Rockstar Wizardess. Welcome back to my channel. I have been listening to a lot of music recently. I make monthly playlists, or at least it used to be monthly. First time it was a 2-month playlist. Then it was simply 1-month playlist, and now it's a seasonal playlist, aka spring playlist, summer playlist, and so on. I make these playlists in order to discover new music or rediscover the old music. So I have been listening to a lot of music. I rediscovered a lot of old artists and discovered a new one. And I also have an all-time favorites too. I mean that the ones that I listen to on a regular basis, and it has been so for many years. And yeah, unpopular opinion here, you don't have to memorize the entire discography of a band or the lyrics. You don't have to know everything about the band members in order to be a fan. You can just listen to music on a regular basis, and that's what I do. In this video, I'm going to go through my 17 favorite artists, bands, or simply the artists that I listen to on a regular basis. Let's do this. Here we are. 17 music acts. Yes, they are very good. The order is random and the genres vary. The first artist that comes to my mind that I recently been listening to a lot is Kate Bush. So I started listening to Kate Bush in 2020. I did not appreciate her enough back then. Then I listened to her again. I think you remember that in 2022 her song Running Up That Hill, A Deal With God was trending. I prefer the Stranger Things version of the song. And this year another song of hers that started trending was Army Dreamers. To be honest, when that song started trending, there was an inner hipster in me because I wanted to yell. This song has been my favorite before TikTok. Yeah, I added this song to my favorites playlist in 2023. Yes. Yeah, a hipster moment of me. Okay, I must confess, I'm not a huge fan of a high-pitched female vocals. However, there was something about Kate Bush that made me go back to her and try out her new music. Okay, maybe TikTok also helped, but still. So last night, today is 25th of June. Last night I listened to her Hounds of Love album, and I noticed that on that album her vocals they sound deeper than on her early albums like The Kicking Side and Never Forever. I also need to admit that I have a lot of songs of hers to uncover, and of course I'm going to uncover at least her 80s stuff. Okay, the next band, to be honest, I do not even know the names of the musicians. I discovered this band, I think 1 or 2 years ago, when one of the YouTubers I used to watch recommended them on her Instagram stories. Okay, I confess, around 4 years ago, I used to watch a lot of Elise Eklund videos. Yes, I have a favorite YouTuber's video on my Russian channel that used to be an English one, and I admitted that I was a huge fan of Elise, but I do not watch her anymore. Well, because I do not really like the content she makes now. However, she did recommend Half Alive, that's the band, and it stuck with me. I started listening to them in 2023 in summer. I really enjoyed their Conditions of a Punk album. I originally thought it was Confessions of a Punk. This is how I read. And my favorite song of that album was Summerland. This summer I decided to listen to Half Alive again. And their 2019 album, unfortunately I do not remember the name. I really like the song Arrow. 2019 album was really solid, however I prefer Conditions of a Punk. Conditions of a Punk is a really, really great album. I think in the future I'm going to admit that Half Alive is my favorite non-metal act. Favorite non-metal band. Their music is really light-hearted. It's very summery. Yeah, no wonder I started to listening to them in summer, and I decided to rediscover them in summer. I definitely recommend checking out the song Summerland, or in general their Conditions of a Punk album. Yeah, definitely Conditions of a Punk is an album I would love to listen to again. Okay, next we have another band that I associate with summer, or at least with spring. I started listening to this band in 2023. I started listening around summer, autumn, and when I came across the song by this band in winter, I was like, I'd rather listen to them during summer. I do not want to listen to them in winter. And their music is very light-hearted. It's a rock band, and this is Fleetwood Mac. I admit that the main reason I started listening to Fleetwood Mac is that it is said that the book Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid is based on Fleetwood Mac. Okay, I do not know the behind-the-scenes drama, and that doesn't really concern me. I'm concerned with the music, so I did listen to their Rumors album. I really like the songs Never Going Back Again. I really like the acoustic part, and I like The Chain. Other songs by Fleetwood Mac I really like are Gypsy and Everywhere, and recently I really liked Caroline and Family Man. Some solid songs over here. Okay, at the moment I am at the stage when I'm discovering the band's music. I did add a lot of songs to my summer 2024 playlist, and I'm going to go back to Fleetwood Mac again and discover more. Next artist is an artist I listened to a lot in 2014. Around 10 years ago, when I was discovering metal, I decided to rediscover this artist again, and this is Dio. You know what? After a few years of not listening to Dio on a regular basis, the last time I did was in 2020, I realized that Ronnie James Dio sounds even better. I mean, his vocals started growing on me even more. Okay, I cannot say that I know that the Dio discography by heart. However, the band's albums, yes, this is considered a band. This is not a solo project by Ronnie James Dio. The two albums, Holy Diver and Dream Evil, I did listen to them a lot back in the day, and they do mean a lot to me. And my favorite songs by Dio are I Could Have Been a Dreamer. I recently grew to like Dream Evil. I really like All the Fools Sailed Away, Naked in the Rain, and from the Holy Diver album, really like the titular Holy Diver and Rainbow in the Dark and Don't Talk to Strangers. Speaking of Dio, I do really like also the first three Rainbow albums with him, and recently the song that I really liked, I recommend, it's Starstruck. Okay, Rainbow is not in the list here. I cannot claim myself to be a fan or to be on the stages of diving deep into the band. However, and the reason I'm mentioning Rainbow is that I really appreciated the albums they did with Dio, the first album. On the first album, I really like Self-Portrait, but unfortunately I cannot add it to my Spotify favorites playlist because for some reason it's blocked. Really like also Man on the Silver Mountain. From the Rising album, I really like I said, Starstruck and Stargazer. And from their third album, Long Live Rock and Roll, I absolutely love Kill the King. Kill the King has one of my all-time favorite lines in metal, and it's Fly Like the Wind. Okay, I could talk a lot about songs made with Ronnie James Dio on the vocals, however, let's move on. Oh no, speaking of Dio, I need to add Black Sabbath to this list. I'm actually a long-time Black Sabbath fan. However, when it comes to Black Sabbath, I really need to say this needs to be said. As a Black Sabbath vocalist, it's Ozzy. There is a lot of debate surrounding Ozzy and Dio. People compare them, and I can definitely tell you that Dio is great on his own. However, as a Black Sabbath singer, it's definitely Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy is a much more atmospheric singer. Okay, Black Sabbath does really have that atmosphere when you hear them, those heavy riffs and everything, and Ozzy's vocals add to the atmosphere. Sure, Ronnie James Dio did a solid job with his Black Sabbath albums. However, it was Ozzy that created the spark of Black Sabbath. Oh, and by the way, when I bought myself I Am Ozzy by Ozzy Osbourne, I remember very well that while reading, I streamed the first 5 Black Sabbath albums. I preferred them over the rest. Unfortunately, I can definitely say that there are some bands where you really love their peak stuff and you do not care about everything else they made. So when I listen to Black Sabbath, I only appreciate the Ozzy and the Dio stuff. However, there is one song that is neither Ozzy or Dio that I really love from them. It's from their Tear album, and it's called Valhalla. And the lyrics of the song, they do really a great job explaining what's Valhalla. I can definitely say that I have never heard the word Valhalla until I heard the Black Sabbath song, and now it's definitely one of my favorites. Well, speaking of traditional heavy metal bands, this list would be incomplete without Iron Maiden. You know what? I remember very well back in February 2014. I remember very well that I spent the entire February studying the Iron Maiden discography. I do remember I also studied Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, and Led Zeppelin. I started listening to their discographies. Yeah, it's kind of sad that I did not have Spotify back in the day. With Spotify, on the phone, it would have been much more convenient to do that. Anyway, recently I went back and listened to Iron Maiden's Peace of Mind album, and I definitely really love the Revelations, and my favorite song of the album has to be Flight of the Icarus. And from their Power Slave album, I really love Aces High, and also the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. For a long time, my favorite Iron Maiden album was Somewhere in Time, and my favorite song of that album was A Stranger in a Strange Land, not to be confused with the Robert Heinlein novel of the same name. I also did actually listen to Senjutsu, or how it's pronounced, album the day it came out. However, I did not enjoy it that much. It was a good album, however, that's not something I would listen to again and again. However, I would definitely listen to their 80s stuff, and I also really like Brave New World. Well, the titular song definitely, and also The Wicker Man. Two songs from the Paul Diano era I really like are Prodigal Son and Murders in the Rue Morgue. And The Rothschild is also very good. Let's move on. Okay, the next band I fully started listening to in 2018. That's the first time I tried a full album by them. Previously, I have only known their major hits. And then 2020 came and I started listening to them a lot. And to this day, when I hear Don't Mind the Sirens, and to this day, when I listen to the band, I do remember 2020 and some of the good times. Good memories. And the band is Queen. Okay, who doesn't know Bohemian Rhapsody? Who doesn't know We Will Rock You or We Are the Champions? Everybody knows these songs. However, Queen is much more than their hits. There are a lot of songs by them that are not that mainstream, but I really love. I really appreciate the Millionaire Waltz, Teotoriate, what else? And I really love Spread Your Wings and Don't Try Suicide and Killer Queen and so on. And the album by Queen I listen to the most, well, I would listen to that album over and over again and again. It would be definitely A Night at the Opera. And this is actually the very first Queen album that I listened to. And there's a reason it was this album that became the first. That album really has really cool songs like Death on Two Legs, Good Company, 39, Bohemian Rhapsody, what else? Seaside Rendezvous, on Lazing on the Sunday Afternoon, Sweet Lady, and my absolute favorite song has to be my second most favorite Queen song after I Want It All from the Miracle album, and this is the Prophet song. Prophet song is absolutely solid. It's around 8 minutes long, and in the middle it has an a cappella part. A cappella, I don't know how to pronounce it, but basically this is the vocal part without the instruments. I love the beginning, acoustic, at the beginning of the Prophet song, and so definitely if you really want to start listening to Queen, I do recommend listening to I Want It All. Not Bohemian Rhapsody, not We Are the Champions, not We Will Rock You. I recommend starting with this one. Unfortunately, to me, a lot of Queen albums are not available on Spotify. However, I'm going to go to YouTube to listen to them. We have the vinyl stores. I want CDs. I definitely prefer CDs. They're much more convenient. I definitely would have loved to have A Night at the Opera CD, because this is definitely such a solid album. It's a very diverse album. You have ukulele, you have rock parts, you have a cappella long song, and you have Bohemian Rhapsody. Okay, I mentioned that the very first Queen album that I checked out, A Night at the Opera. Can you guess why? Maybe if you have watched my previous videos where I talk about music, maybe you have guessed, but in short, because there's another band which has also an album called A Night at the Opera, and you guessed which one. Band also carries a lot of Queen influences. In A History of Heavy Metal by Andrew O'Neill, they're mentioned as Queen influenced, but that's not the reason I love the band, and that's Blind Guardian. So in my Spotify video of 2023, I said that they are the most addictive metal band that I have ever heard. I tell you, I heard them once, and then remember Alice in Wonderland when she chases the white rabbit and then falls down the rabbit hole to the Wonderland? Well, it's kind of the same with Blind Guardian for me. I really don't mind if another musician takes my top artist place on Spotify Wrapped this year. That wouldn't be a bad thing per se. Yes, this summer I'm listening to a lot of different various artists. However, given how addictive Blind Guardian are, I think that's going to be a difficult achievement for certain bands. Okay, with Blind Guardian, I think everybody knows the infamous The Bard song in the forest. I actually think the Bard song in The Hobbit is a really solid one, underappreciated in my opinion. Everybody also knows what Mirror Mirror and Valhalla. I also know that there's a lot of debate surrounding their 90s material and their recent material, and I can definitely tell you that I prefer the more recent stuff, well, because At the Age of Time was my first album from them, and that was because of A Song of Ice and Fire. They have A Song of Ice and Fire song, well, two of them, and at the time I discovered them, I was a huge A Song of Ice and Fire addict. Nowadays, my obsession with A Song of Ice and Fire has died down. Yes, I constantly talk about how obsessed I was with A Song of Ice and Fire, and I can definitely say that probably one of the best consequences of being a fan of A Song of Ice and Fire was discovering Blind Guardian, or to be exactly, discovering them. And because of them, I rediscovered Tolkien. I need to make a confession that would shock a lot of Tolkien fans. In my list of fantasy writers, Tolkien was taking the lowest point. I thought he was too slow, he wasn't dynamic, and yada yada yada. But listening to a lot of Blind Guardian made me rediscover Tolkien, and wow. Now I own 3 editions of Lord of the Rings, and also some other Tolkien stuff. I'm talking about the book side of things when I should be talking about the music side of things. But excuse me, you cannot speak of Blind Guardian without also speaking about Tolkien. I do really think that their A Twist in the Myth album needs more appreciation. And I then definitely say that my favorite 90s album of theirs is definitely Somewhere Far Beyond. Okay, so Blind Guardian is the only band whose album I own. This is Imaginations from the Other Side. And my favorite song from the album is The Script for My Requiem. Absolute banger. Love it. And this one also has my favorites, Mordred Song and Another Holy War. And a few others, but these are the songs that I think most of all when I think of favorite songs from the Imaginations album. Let's move on. Next comes the band I never thought I would like. Okay, so in my video named You Only Like the Band Because the Singer is Hot, yes, the title is really loud, I said something along the lines that the band members can look like Gollum and I would still listen to them. Little did I know, back in May 2024, that only a month after the video was released, little did I know that I would be heavily addicted to the band whose lead singer sounds like Gollum. You know what's even more unusual for me? Even more unusual, it's very surprising. I never thought I would listen to the band with the word core attached to the genre. It's a deathcore band. And to this day, I'm shocked that I started listening to this band and I actually enjoyed them. I became a fan. It's totally different. It's completely different from what I listened to. I do admit that I came to listen to this band as a result of multiple actions. Yes, there are circumstances under which I started listening to this band, and this band is, oh my goodness, Lorna Shore. I never thought I would listen to bands like that, because I do not really listen to core bands. But then Lorna Shore happened, and now I have to rethink some things. And now you'd probably ask, did you start listening to Lorna Shore because on the internet you uncovered Will Ramos? The answer is yes. It was actually the charismatic voice who led me to him. There was this video where they analyze Will Ramos' vocals. Literally, they put a camera to his throat, and fact about me, I'm legit terrified of such things. I thought that would be the end of it, but YouTube algorithm thought otherwise. Because after watching the video, I opened YouTube only to be recommended Will Ramos' YouTube channel, and I really liked the video where he analyzes his own song. I think it was the one where he pretends to be Elizabeth, the charismatic voice, and I thought it was legit fun. And then curiosity got better of me, and I went to Spotify, and I listened to the very first album that came along, and that was Pain Remains. I loved it. I listened to it twice. I'm definitely going to listen to that album once again. It's solid work, and I really like also their EP, and I Return to Nothingness. I appreciate To the Hellfire, particularly the acoustic intro. I noticed that this band has a few power metal-like guitar riffs. Yeah, they do kinda sound power metal-like to me. On the Pain Remains album, I really like the very first song, Welcome Back or Sleeping Dreamer, because it has a lot of awesome breakdowns. I never thought I would enjoy breakdowns, and I also never thought I would enjoy such vocals, the chorals or however it's called. And the next song, Into the Earth, has the type of vocals when there's this line, My body has grown so cold, I heard Gollum. Yeah, the singer is a Gollum. Maybe the next album should be the Lord of the Rings themed album. Yeah, this is a very surprising band for me to enjoy for a number of reasons. Well, because I'm not a fan of core vocals. I am very much into the traditional metal screams, the traditional heavy metal vocals, and also clean stuff. Okay, less clean stuff, but more traditional metal vocals. You know what? After hearing Will Ramos sing, now even the thrash metal vocals, all type of heavy metal vocals, they sound clean to me. This is how it went. I still cannot believe that I got into Lorna Shore, and I absolutely cannot get over the fact that Will Ramos is only 20 days older than me. This is something I keep thinking about. And the YouTube algorithm would not stop recommending me videos featuring him. And also, in case you are the type of person who does not really like growls and you want clean vocals, Will did some clean vocal stuff. I recommend checking out the song Slowly Dancing in the Dark and also Dark Signs. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, here on the screen you see two channels. One is Nick Nocturnal and the other is The Charismatic Voice. So they collaborated in August 2023 and released their How to Make a Nightwish song video. I thought the Red Panda song was really cool, I have it on repeat. So in 2023 I did see them as really cool music YouTube channels. And now, just look at their channels. I go to their channels and what do I see? The For You section, the For You videos recommended to me are all Will Ramos themed videos. So I keep always saying that metal bands altered my perception of Lord of the Rings, so that I can't perceive Lord of the Rings without metal anymore. And it's the same here. I cannot perceive Nick Nocturnal and The Charismatic Voice without Will Ramos anymore. When I watch their videos, I constantly think that he's hiding somewhere. I watch some videos by them, well, at least by Nick, definitely. I'm not into reaction videos, at least not yet. I watch their videos and then I think, okay, so where are you hiding, Will? He should come out and appear on the screen. And also while watching some the Nick Nocturnal videos, I watch them a lot recently, he gave off an impression that he is fanboying over Will hard. Excuse me, that was really noticeable. And to be honest, it would be really cool if he admitted that publicly. He should do that. With Elizabeth, I do not know yet because I haven't watched her videos that much. But yeah, I watched the videos and I keep thinking that Will is going to appear very soon. I constantly keep thinking that for some reason, I do not know why. Okay, let's move on. The next comes the bands that I have discovered earlier than any other band in this list. So I discovered them in 2009 and started listening to a lot in 2012. Definitely my gateway to metal. I was heavily obsessed with this band for nearly 2 years. Now that obsession has died down, I still listen to them from time to time. I still enjoy Nightwish. The first songs that I heard were the hits like Sleeping Sun, Nemo, Wish I Had an Angel. Well, who else thought that Nemo was inspired by Finding Nemo? It's not. Given that the lyrics were about being lost and in Finding Nemo, Nemo is lost, yeah, this is why I thought it was Finding Nemo inspired. I think the first album I heard was Century Child. Well, that was after I heard the hits. And I think that their Imaginarium album deserves more appreciation. You know what? It was kind of surprising that at the time when I discovered Nightwish for the first time, I thought Wishmaster and Wish I Had an Angel were legit heavy songs. No, I wouldn't call them light songs. However, they are not exactly that heavy. Well, at the time I did not hear enough metal, so these songs were really heavy for me. But Wishmaster is legit fast, and it's really cool. Phantom of the Opera. Definitely my favorite interpretation of Phantom of the Opera. I actually cannot listen to other Phantoms of the Opera because they sound too vanilla. If you want to get into Nightwish, I definitely recommend not Nemo or Wish I Had an Angel. I recommend the Phantom of the Opera. I only prefer their albums made where the previous two singers. With the third one, I'm not a huge fan of. Not because she can't sing or something, but because the music itself is way too mild, way too soft. I really hope that their new album, Yesterwind, this is how it's called, is going to have a little more diversity in heaviness and melody. Last two albums were too bland for my taste. Okay, these days I'm not a die-hard Nightwish fan. However, I really cannot ignore their upcoming album. Definitely I'm going to give it a listen. I'm not a huge fan of Perfume of the Timeless, but I really hope that it does not represent the whole album. Next comes Sabaton, the band that once saved me on an exam. I wasn't prepared that well. However, because of Sabaton, I did remember a certain historical event and I wrote about it and I passed the exam, yeah! I remember that in summer 2017 I was preparing for university and I had to study. And which band was my go-to at the moment? Obviously Sabaton. When I first discovered Sabaton in 2013, I had at university 20th century history, which I hated. I must confess, I had the lowest score on that subject. Can you imagine? I really did not like the 20th century history, and then I decide to discover some new music, discover Sabaton, and then I hear 20th century history and I'm like, no, thank you very much. I've had enough of this at university. But there was something about Sabaton that got me, and in 2017 I became a fan. I think that's because, like I said, I was studying, preparing for university at the time, and Sabaton was the band that matched my energy at the moment. Okay, let's not start the historical debate here because I'm not that historically savvy at the moment, and once university ended, I wanted to rest from that. So when I listened to their recent albums, I did think that they kinda do repeat themselves. I heard that criticism of them, and it's kinda true, but that's not necessarily a super bad thing. You can still find some solid new bangers. From their recent albums, I really enjoy Versailles and Dreadnought, and also Soldier of Heaven. Oh, by the way, before we go to the next band, did you notice that in some of my videos I wear this black shirt? There is a specific reason I'm wearing this. This style is called Heavy Metal Band Live. I did really notice that a lot of band members, well, not just the singers, but other members, they wear this type of shirts during live shows. And now when I think about it, maybe I should be the singer in a band. I would wear this because it looks really good on me, just like it looks good on the singers. I do think I look really cool in this shirt. It fits me very well, and it fits the singers too. Okay, now we're going to the Neue Deutsche Härte side of things. The next band I'm listening to on a regular basis, not necessarily a huge fan, but I still try to discover new songs I would love, and the band is Die Krupps. I discovered Die Krupps in 2020 randomly. I found them on YouTube. To this day I do not remember how I ended up watching the video of theirs, but I still did. The very first song by them I heard is Nazi South Speed, which is one of my all-time favorite songs. The song is from their 2013 album The Machinists of Joy, and I revisited the album a few months ago, and this is definitely the album I will listen to again. It has a really solid techno sound. It's much more techno than the next band I'm going to mention, which is also Neue Deutsche Härte. It's the most famous band. Also on Machinists of Joy album, I really like Robo Sapien, and also Im Schatten der Dinge. I need to discover more Die Krupps. My favorite songs of theirs are definitely Nazi South Speed, Robo Sapien, Im Schatten der Dinge, and Beyond. Yes, if you want to hear Neue Deutsche Härte, I do recommend this album, The Machinists of Joy. It's in both English and German, and the title of the album is written in both languages. And it features the lead singer of the band wearing a black shirt, although with shorter sleeves. And now we come to the second Neue Deutsche Härte band, and the last one in this list. You probably guessed which one I'm talking about. Obviously this is Rammstein. Can you imagine when I heard Rammstein for the first time? I was legit terrified of them. So I have been listening to metal for many years already, and I can definitely tell you that only two bands managed to terrify me. Only two: Rammstein and Iced Earth. Yes, you got that right. I was scared of Rammstein and Iced Earth. With the first one, the first song I heard from them was Sonne, and I thought it was way too heavy and brutal. And with Iced Earth, I listened to their Burnt Offerings album, and I thought the atmosphere of the album was way too dark, way cold, and way too scary. When it came to Rammstein, I came around, and in 2020 I discovered Spring. I loved it. I think this is definitely an underrated Rammstein song. It's very heavy and it's very wintry. It definitely fits the cover of the Rosenrot album. Yeah, can you imagine? The album is called Rose Red, yet the cover of the album is nothing like that. There are no red roses on the cover. And then came one song in June 2023 that changed everything. It changed the way I viewed Rammstein. It's the song that made me love the band, and this is Mein Herzbrand. So, as I heard that this song is based on a story called The Sandman. I think it was a German fairy tale or something. Are you German? Please correct me in the comments. And also, one of the reasons this song is my favorite song by Rammstein because it has appropriate lyrics. I think if you have ever heard of Rammstein, you know what type of stuff they like to sing about, but that's not the case with Mein Herzbrand. That song has appropriate lyrics, and I also know that Rammstein got a lot of people to learn German. For me, it's the opposite. When I listen to Rammstein, I'm actually glad that I do not know enough German to understand what they sing about. But yeah, still a really solid band. I love Spring, I love Deutschland, I love Mein Herzbrand, I love Sonne. Sorry, I'm supposed to say Sonne, not Sonne. Laichzeit, yeah, from the first album, Herzeleid. I really like Laichzeit. In my Spotify favorites playlist, if you count songs by each artist, the majority goes to Blind Guardian. But if you get Blind Guardian out of my playlist, this band is going to be my favorite because most songs are by them, and this is Blackmore's Night. I guess I really like folk elements other than metal stuff. No, I'm not into folk metal. I prefer these things separately, and I prefer metal having a few folk elements rather than mix folk and metal equally. And also it works the other way around. I prefer a folk band add some metal elements. When I came across Blackmore's Night, this band was described as a folk rock. It's also a medieval band. Yes, when you listen to this band, you definitely have a feeling of Renaissance enlightenment or something. My first song by this band was A Village on the Sand. Songs I really like are Fires at Midnight and Gone with the Wind and The Wind in the Willows. Yeah, definitely light-hearted music, light-hearted folk, but they do have some rock elements. I mostly prefer their earlier stuff. If you have never heard of Blackmore's Night, I definitely recommend checking it out more than any other band here. So my favorite album of theirs is Ghost of a Rose. Next we have a thrash metal band. No, it's not Metallica. No, it's not Megadeth. It's a Creator. So the first time I heard Creator was in 2020 when they performed on Wacken Worldwide. I do remember checking some of their songs. I do remember they performed the Violent Revolution, but I did not pay much to Creator back in the day. And a year later, in 2021, when I listened to the Violent Revolution album, the titular song sounded familiar, and that was definitely the song that they performed live on Wacken. I do also really like the lyrics to Violent Revolution. My favorite album of theirs has to be Extreme Aggression. I remember in 2020 I listened to Extreme Aggression before bed and it relaxed me. And finally the last band here. Oh no, that's not the last one. There is one more, sorry. This band that I was talking about, it's Burning Witches. Last year, 2023, they released their The Dark Tower album and I absolutely loved the titular The Dark Tower song. It had the proper metal screams, it had an old school sound and a really solid guitar solo. Other songs by them I really like are also from the Dark Tower album Tomorrow. It's a more relaxing ballad, Into the Unknown. I remember I discovered Burning Witches in 2021. I realized that these girls had lots of potential and then they released The Dark Tower and I loved it. And finally the last band, that for some reason I missed out on. It's Beyond the Black. It's a symphonic metal band, I would say. So in 2023, Beyond the Black also released an album. It's a self-titled album, and then when I listened to it, I actually rejoiced because I found a symphonic metal band that actually had metal in it, and it did not rely on the symphonic part. If you do not like symphonic metal after Nightwish, I definitely recommend checking out Beyond the Black, particularly their self-titled album with the red cover where all the band members are. I discovered them in 2020. I was watching Wacken Worldwide. However, the only reason I checked Beyond the Black was that they performed before Blind Guardian, and I was waiting for Blind Guardian to perform and caught Beyond the Black, and at the moment I did not really enjoy them because I thought they were too generic. I thought they were another generic symphonic metal band. And then came Wacken 2023. I was really interested in checking their performance, and I was legit impressed. I listened to their self-titled album and I loved it. So the first song on the album, Is There Anybody Out There, is a complete banger. It's almost a power metal song. And the second song, Reincarnation, has a few folk elements, I'd say. Still a solid one, melodic. My recent favorites that I listen to a lot are Into the Light and Dancing in the Dark. Dancing in the Dark has great drums in the first verse. One fact that I cannot throw out of my mind regarding Beyond the Black is that their lead singer, Jennifer Haben, how to pronounce it, is only a year younger than me. When I found out her age, I was like, wow, a heavy metal singer which is a year younger than me. Someone close to my age, wow. Yes, just like with Will Ramos, I was surprised that Jennifer was around my age and even younger. Okay, context needed why this mattered to me a lot. It also has a lot to do with books too. It just happened historically that all the writers and the bands that I enjoy either dead or old enough to be my grandparents or parents. Most of these bands and artists that I've just listed here, they are all older than me. And then come bands where the lead singers, well, I don't know how about other members, but the lead singers are either born in 1994 or 95. I think you understood that because of the bands, that them being old enough to be my parents. It's really surprising and memorable for me too. And that's the same with books. Alice Oseman is around 4 months younger than me. I'm a June baby and she's an October baby. Wow. And that's all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Wow, it turned out to be quite long. I have a lot of editing to do now. What's your favorite band or the ones that you are diving deep into at the moment? Let me know down in the comments. See you next time. Goodbye.